Hey everyone, how's it going? So with Endwalker coming to a close in the next few months, and with all the major patches finished, I thought it would be good to go back and look at all the alliance raids that came out since the beginning of the game, and just rank them. So I went and played them recently, like all of them, just to like get a good idea of what they were, because I haven't done them in so long, aside from the ones released this expansion, right? Those I've played them, well, a bunch of times since they were the more current ones, and the other ones I haven't really done them that often. Simply because, well, I don't do roulettes. Ever since I'm max my characters, I don't do my roulettes and all that. So I very rarely go do them. So it was a good opportunity to go back and see how they hold up, especially near, because I mostly started playing during Shadowbreakers. I played in A Realm Reborn during A Realm Reborn in the beginning of Evansward, but I didn't see any of the Alliance raid in Evansward. And I started playing a lot more during Shadowbreakers. So to see how the near raids hold up to now, like, it's gonna be interesting. So we're gonna start this, and you might notice at the top of the screen there's another tab. That's how we're going to decide how we're going to rank them. Like, not how we're going to rank them, and which one we're going to pick to rank. So we're going to spin that wheel and see what we're going to talk about first. Well, the first one is Copied Factory. Okay, Copied Factory. So that's the first raid that came out of Shadowbringers, and it's kind of the reason I came back to Final Fantasy XIV, actually. Like, I was following the development a bit, but not much. And then this was announced, and I was like, okay, I might come back for it, because I just played Near the Mana, and I wanted more. So, yeah, so I think like 2 or 3 months before the raid released, I came back to Final Fantasy XIV. I had to play through all of Evansward, Stormblood, and Shadowbringers to get to this, and I think I finished like 1 week before the raid came out. So I got the chance to play it like day one, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. Near stuff, like, I was really just impressed with the music and all that, the visuals. But in terms of mechanics, like, now that I'm more experienced, I feel like some fights are a bit basic, but like they're not telegraphed, like in a casual sense. Not casual, but like for the majority of the player, basically, like the telegraphs are not that easy to find. So there's a few gotcha moments, which spice things up, and it's really interesting. I think it holds up really well. I think it holds up even better than before, because on release the raid was fairly long, and that's the thing with all the near raids, they're all pretty long. But now that we outscale it a bit, I think it's even better, because it just doesn't last too long. Like, it's just the right amount of time. So I think I'm going to put this here. I tried to order them during the in each tier, but that we're going to see as we go. Alright, so the next one. Circus Tower. Alright. We're not going to spend too much time on this, let's just put it here. I wouldn't say it's necessarily bad, it's just bad by default of being heavily outscaled. I played it back during A Realm Reborn, like I said, and it was fun at that time. Now it's just, you run through it, and 15 minutes later, not even less than that, and you're done. You skip all the mechanics, like there's absolutely no danger whatsoever, almost. It finishes really quickly. And also, I said I didn't do the roulettes that much, but like, because it's required by the main scenario, it pops up more often. I think now it pops up less because they made the high level requirement, which is a good thing, but it still pops up more than any other alliance raids, because it's required by the main scenario. People need to do it compared to the others where they're optionals. So yeah, I think that its saving grace right now is because it's short. But because it's heavily outscaled, I can't say it's good in any way. There's another one. Labyrinth of the Ancient. That's the first one from A Realm Reborn, and whoa, nothing average goes in that. Same reason as Circus Towers, really. I think it's potentially even more interesting, actually, because there are parts where you have to split the groups apart, like the 3 long hallways, and you have to send a platform so that another group can hit their targets and all that. Like, the ideas are interesting. They're probably not executed well, but because it's like the first Alliance raids ever, and they're experimenting as well, because they remade the game. Like, 1.0 was terrible. So yeah, I give it points for that and being a bit creative. But like Circus Tower, it didn't age well at all. It aged even worse because it's the first one. It's even more outscaled, and there's still some gotcha moments. Like, if the DPS is not high enough, King Behemoth can wipe us. Like, when I went to play them again recently, we wiped to the Behemoth, and we also wiped to the final boss, because we wiped twice the final boss because half of us wanted to DPS it down before he cast his Ancient Flare, and half of the people ran away, and it just killed everybody. That was just funny. Like, it's hilarious. It has some funny moments like that, but if you try to see as a mechanic how it works and all that, like, it's nice. Completely outscaled. Alright, next we have Talia. Didn't think we'd get to all the bad ones. I'm not sure exactly where to put it right now. I'm going to put it here. I might change it, but I know it's going in bad. And it's sad to say. This is the most recent raid released. It was released in 6.5 in Endwalker, and it's boring. I just don't like it. There's nothing really I like in this raid, and it's really disappointing. Like, the first fight, insanely basic. The second fight was actually good. Had some good ideas. It's a bit on the easy side, but it has some gacha moments with the ad that spawns and cleaves the room in multiple ways. Like, if you don't keep attention, like, you get hit. Like, that fight is actually good. The second fight is actually good. I like that fight. And also, like, that's a secret interaction where if you, like, try to blow a kiss to the boss or something like that, like, she stuns you. Like, that's actually really funny. Like, that's a nice secret. Like, I give points for that. But the third and fourth boss, Olshan and Logia, complete garbage. I hate those bosses. They're absolutely boring, snooze fest, and the last boss is a complete disappointment because it reuses all the mechanics of the 12 bosses before that, like of the 3 Alliance for Endwalker, without merging them. Like, what the hell? Why wouldn't you do that? Like, you have one new mechanic. That mechanic lasts, I don't know, 500 years to cast, and she does it twice in a row. By the time it's done, like, she's like already 30% dead. Like, okay, you did nothing so far. Like, you just absolutely did nothing. It's terrible. They have to actually merge together. Like, it's cool that she reuses the mechanics of previous bosses, but they really should be used in tandem. Like a boss in one of the other raids, Orban Monastery with Ultima. She uses attacks from previous bosses in the raids, but she also has her own attacks, and she uses all of that in tandem, which creates really interesting scenarios, and like, it keeps you on your toes. And here it's completely non-existent. There's only one mechanic that's used in tandem in a way, and it's Taliak's thing that the floor moves with Ralger's half-room punch. But even then, that's not really unique, because Taliak does the same thing. Like, it rotates the platform, and he does a left or right attack, which is exactly the same thing. It's a half-room cleave, just instead of being from Taliak, it's from Ralger. Like, that's the tandem, but if you take it its base form, it's the same thing, so no, it's not even you. It's just massive disappointment. So, yeah, no, I think I'm going to leave it as the worst right now. Like, there's absolutely nothing fun in it. Aside from the second boss. Second boss is actually good. But the third and fourth boss are so bad that it just drags it down too much. Okay, next, we have Ridorana Lighthouse. It's this one, I believe. I'm going to put it here. So that's the second raid from Stormblood from the Evil East series, and it's amazing. It's just amazing. The music is awesome. The fights are cool. There's a lot of gotcha moments. Like, I remember the first time I did it was with a bunch of people from. We just made an FC. Like, I just came back to the game for a while, and we created an FC and all that, and we got a bunch of people, and me and someone else, we had to do this raid. Like, we were there for the. Like, we were trying to just complete them for the first time, and someone joined us, and we started, and I think on the second boss, something like that, I said, hey, would it be cool if Yasmat was the final boss? Yeah, when we got there, it was Yasmat, and I was like, holy shit, are you fucking kidding me? It was such a what the fuck moment. I actually, guessed that. I thought it was amazing. But aside from that, all the fights are really cool, and of course, we have to talk about the math boss, which a lot of people meme about. I don't think it's really that hard of a fight, but I can understand, if you're not good in math, you can actually get wrecked. Even though it's not hard math, you still have to think about it quickly, especially the prime numbers. You have to make a prime numbers. One is not one. I think. I'm not even sure anymore. Anyway, yeah, this one was really good. Now we're going to talk about Tower at Paradigm Beach. This one is a weird one to me because I remember the first time I did it, I didn't like it. And it's not because I think it's necessarily bad, it's because it's way too long. Mechanically, it's really good. It has a lot of gacha moment. The bosses, if you play the near games, oh shit, this boss is there, that's cool and all that. And some mechanics are pretty cool, but other are pretty slow, especially the first two bosses. The giant yellow guy, I forgot his name, and Hansel and Gretel. Their mechanics can be pretty slow, especially Hansel and Gretel. But mechanically, they're fine. They're fine. It picks up on the third boss with the red girl. This fight is amazing. I love the red girl fight. It's really great. There's a nice flow and all. And then you get warped to another place where you like this little vessel and you shoot the core, reminiscent of Near the Mad. I didn't expect that. I was like, oh, that's pretty neat. That's cool. And then afterwards, you get to the final boss, False Idol, and then or Fluorescent and Fluorescent. I don't remember her name. It's a weird name. Which I heard people saying it's related to Dragon Card. I haven't played those games yet, and I should. Even though I heard they're not great, I want to play them eventually. Would be cool if they made a remaster of them. But anyway, yeah, and replaying this raid recently, I thought, yeah, it's a bit better than I expected, than I remembered, but it's still too long, and we didn't really outscale it that much. I think it's a bit faster than before, but it's still fairly long overall. I think it took us 45-50 minutes, and I think it's slightly too long. 40 minutes should be the max, in my opinion, unless everything goes stupid bad. But anyway, I'm going to put it in average though. Before I would have put it in bad, but average is it's fine because it's one flaw compared to all the other stuff that's good. So it's easiest to go through. But if I really think about it, it's not that bad. Right, up next, Orban Monastery. Which one's this one? Simply put, it's my favorite. It's my favorite of all time. It's just good. It's amazing. All the fights are really great. The lines, there's a lot of voice dialogues, and they're all epic in their own right. They how can I say, they're meme materials, but at the same time they're just fun to listen to. They're just great. The fights are really unique too. They're all fast paced, fairly fast paced. They all have unique mechanics. The flow of the whole raid is just amazing. Fun fact: the first time I did it was, I tried to queue for a bunch of time for it, and the whole Evilist raid was like that. It would take an hour or two to get in. It was really terrible. And I decided, okay, this one I'll do it eventually, but I didn't want to. And I was leveling Black Mage. I did my Islands raid with it, and I got pitch in. That's how I first did it, with Black Mage, which I didn't know how to play. It was amazing. I kept dying left and right. It was so funny. And I felt so bad at the same time, like, oh my god, I am dragging the team down so much. But yeah, that's how it was. But yeah, the whole thing was amazing. The only downside for me personally is the music for Ultima is, I don't care about it. I just don't. Like, I know a lot of people like it and all, especially the second phase of Ultima. The first phase is fine, but the second phase, I just don't care about it. Like, whatever. I couldn't make without it. Alright, next we have Weeping City of Mac. It's good, but it's not the best. Like, the first fight is versus the spider thingy, which has an interesting idea where you thrown in the webs and you have to get out of that. Like, that's pretty clever. The second boss, it's that fly thingy, like I forgot how it's called, and I think the idea, the fight is cool, but it's not presented well. Like, if you are familiar with Final Fantasy, you know that being in a zombie status prevent you from dying from a death spell, right? But in 14, this is not conveyed for one bit. So this is a hard gotcha moment that if you have a lot of newer players in this raid, they'll get hit by that, and it's most likely a wipe. And I think that's, I wouldn't say it's bad, but they needed a better way to convey that to the player. Because you see the goo on the ground, you don't step on it. That's what the game teaches you since the beginning. But no, you have to do that to survive. So like, it's a bit rough. Aside from that, the next boss was Ozma. Amazing fight, I love it. Only surclassed by the Baldesion Arsenal version of this fight, which is almost the same but has some key differences. But the Ozma is pretty fun. It's always chaotic to go through. And the final boss, I just don't care about it. Like, it's not about a bad fight. It's all right. It doesn't do anything for me. The boss doesn't even look cool to me. It just whatever. It's a disappointing final boss for the raid. So I'm not sure. I'll put it in average for now. I might bump it up to good, but for now, average. Aglaya, the first one from Endwalker. Just going to put it here for now. I might bump it up, we'll see. So, I say I might bump it up because when it first released, I seriously considered that it might have been my favorite of all the Alliance raid. The environment is so good, the music is awesome, the fights are pretty good also. Everything is great. And that really set my expectation for the rest of Endwalker. Like, for the Frozen Intalia. Like, I thought, oh, they need to be not necessarily as good, but like that sets a high bar for the rest. Which it didn't deliver, but we'll talk about that later for Frozen. The thing that makes me hesitate to put it at the top is that it's already outscaled. It's outscaled in a bad way. Like, the mechanics are not necessarily free. The fight, the raid's not that hard, but it has some gacha moments that are cool. It's the fight is has a good pace, especially for a first one in the expansion. Like, I'm not expecting the fastest things out there, but it has a good pace. No, my problem is that, like I said, it's outscaled in a terrible way. Like, a lot of mechanics are not shown anymore. Like, it finishes really quickly. Like, in 20-25 minutes you're done with this. And especially with the final boss, it has a key mechanic where you have to balance the two sides of the room to not wipe. This is skipped now, and easily. Like, I knew it was skip. I saw people talk about that on Reddit. So like, oh, okay, it's skip now. That's sad. And having played it recently, I was like, yeah, this is easy to skip. I think we had 3 deaths, and the mechanic was still like 30 seconds away from that. Like, we could have skipped it with like a minute to spare if nobody died or something like that. I'm not sure exactly, but like, it's sad because the mechanic is awesome. But no, it's skip, and I fear like newer players will almost never experience that, and that's sad. But aside from that, like, it's just a really amazing raid, and yeah, I think I'm going to leave it in great. It's still a ton of fun to go through. Oh, on the line almost. All right, War of Darkness. That's the final one from A Realm Reborn. Like the other 2, it's heavily outscaled, but not as much since it's the last one, so it's not as outscaled. Regardless, it is still very outscaled. Having said that, I think it's still decently fun. Like, you still have to respect some mechanic, especially the first boss, where you have to respect the gaze, and the tanks have to make sure the boss targets north. Otherwise, it might leave the whole arena, which I've seen often. Not in my not in my playthrough recently, but over the years I've seen it often where the tank will just have a aggro ward, would aggro one of the random tanks and just cleave the party. Like, it's hilarious when that happens. Like, you see half the people dying. But yeah, so you have to respect mechanic. Second boss, it has a lot of shit that people don't know what to do with, and nobody cares. Cerberus, I think the only problem with Cerberus, like, I think it's a really awesome fight, an insanely good idea, especially for when you consider A Realm Reborn, that it was made in A Realm Reborn. Like, the idea is really, really creative even to this day. I just think the boss is too long. Even if this whole thing is outscaled, Cerberus is too long in my opinion. Like, it's weird, but yeah. Because the whole gimmick is just you go into his belly and attack it from the inside. And that's cool, but like, aside from that, there's not a lot of things going on. So I think it's a fight that's slightly too long. And then Cloud of Darkness. Someone told me recently, like, they did a run of Cloud of Darkness in minimum high level no echo, and they still didn't see one of the mechanics. Like, I don't remember what it is. I know back in the day we called it like whack-a-mole. I don't exactly remember how it went. I just know we wiped there so often back then. It was a hard mechanic. Now it's completely gone, it's non-existent. You have to force yourself to see it. Even in a minimum high level no echo. So yeah. But it still has some mechanics, like it's still a fun fight. But I'm going to put it here, it's at the bottom of average. Because I think it's still better than the other 2. And it's like I said, it's still kind of fun. Okay, next. Royal City of Rabanastic. This one, you go right here. All of Ivalice is there. I think the whole Ivalice raid series is the most perfect raid series they've ever done. Whenever I get one in my roulettes, which I said I don't do them really often anymore, but when I get one, I'm always super happy. I'm always super pumped. Like I said with the other 2, the fights are just really, really fun. The music is great and all that. Like, I've already said everything there needs to be said. If you haven't done them, just go do it. Yes, they're not easy. They're not easy. Like, there's a lot of moments that will get you, but they're just a ton of fun. Like, don't stress out of it. Just go do them. The only problem is the wait times. That's something that plagues all the Alliance raids between Evansward and Strong Brigade right now. Probably include Endwalker when Downtrail comes out, but yeah, you owe it to yourself to play them. I think they're just great. Dunsgate. So that's the final one from Evansward, the last one that came out during Evansward. And I remember the first time I did it was a train wreck. we got in, and I think we had like 17 or 18 Sprout, including myself. Well, not Sprout, but like people that never did it. Including myself, I never did it. And We wiped twice to the first boss, which is super easy to wipe to. Like, it's a really funny boss. And I think 5 people left. We had like 2 or 3 people that knew the raid. We cleared the whole raid. Hey Milo, what are you doing? Yeah, so we cleared the whole raid with only 18 people or something like that. It took us a whole 2 hours. It was so stressful at the end, like, oh my god, we don't want to wipe and all that. Like, what are you doing? Alright. Yeah, it took us a whole 2 hours to do the whole thing, but we did it. It was one of the most exciting experiences I had in this game, aside from like clearing Savage and Ultimates. But yeah, looking back though, like as I do it more often, it is still pretty fun. My only things I'd say though is the final boss, the final part of the final boss doesn't do it for me. Like the Diabolos Hollow is not. I don't really enjoy that much. Not a lot of things are happening. However, the first part of the Diabolos, you know, there's this part where he shoots a laser at the door and you're trying to break the door before he finishes his beam or whatever. I don't know how it finishes if you fail. That part is so cool. It's not a cinematic, but it could almost be. It is so cool to watch and all that. Like it's just fun. Every time I see it, I'm like, oh my god, this thing is amazing. Yeah, I think because of that, I'm going to put it in great. If it wasn't for that door, I think I would have put it 1 tier lower. But that door thingy, with the laser, yeah, it's amazing. What do you want? Puppet's Bunker. This one also goes in great. I think it's my favorite. It's just... how can I say? The first time I did it, I thought it was particularly difficult, especially the last boss. I had a lot of trouble with it. And I didn't like it, because I don't know, like, I thought it was... the things were not obvious. Not that I have more knowledge, I think they're super obvious now. But it's still, there's still a lot of people dying to that, and that to me is like a good sign, because it's not too easy. You look at the Endwalker raids, like, nobody almost ever dies. And in the Evilist and their raids, people die often. And it's great, because it means that it's challenging, and it might make people try to get better. Not only like with their classes, but just at discerning the attack patterns and all that. And that's great. Like, it's not punishing to the point where it's people will quit. I don't think, at least. At least unless you get to the extreme cases where you just wipe too many times. Like, it's not that hard, and at the same time it's challenging to make people get better. And I think Puppet's Bunker is very good in that aspect. It has a lot of attacks that are very varied. And if you like Nier, like, it's also like a lot of reference to those games as well. You just, yeah, it's just a good time. The Frozen Air. That's the second one from Endwalker. We're going to put it in good. So, after Reglaya, I expected a lot. Turns out it was a disappointment. Going back, it's not as bad as I remembered. I just remember being disappointed. But it's not that bad. It's still very easy. Like, all the 3 Endwalker ones are really, really easy. But the first thing is not that bad. The first 2 fights are a bit slow pace. Wait, what's the second fight? First you have Nafika. Oh no, never mind the second boss fight. The first fight is a bit on the slower side, but it's not uninteresting. Like, it's fine. It's the first fight. The second one is really good, like with Altic and Nemia. The fact that you fight 2 bosses and they interact with each other. The arena, the arena is a square, but like they interact with the arena by placing these purple lines that makes you heavy, but also magic vulnerable to magic. And yeah, you have to react according. You have to use that according to what they are doing. And also, you have Altic accelerating Nemia's attacks so that they come out faster and they're a bit harder to dodge. I think like that's a really cool fight. That's probably the best fight in your Frostiny. And yeah, it was just fun. After that, you had Haloni, which it's a lot of half room cleave. It's okay, but her mechanic where she shows the next 4 attacks, where it's like half rooms and point blank and donuts and various order, and then executes them. That surprised me. Like, was okay. That's actually pretty cool. But aside from that, like, Haloni's pretty basic, but it was still a fun fight. And then afterwards, you had Menfina. That's the weakest fight. Again, like Talia, the final fight is the weakest. Although it's not as weak as Zoologia, I still think it's weak because it's a lot of half-room cleaves, which you just did a fight with that. You didn't need a second fight immediately after that's all about half-room cleave. And it's even more in that direction, like it's even more half-room. Like she does half-room cleaves, and then in the second part of the fight, the dogs comes in, which also does half-room cleaves. Like, okay, like it's only that. It's almost only that, and it gets old. It gets old really, really fast. Having said that, I still think Nafika was fine. Altic and Nemia was a great fight, and the rest was just average. And the music, not as good as Aglaya, still pretty good. Still enjoyable. That song with Menfina, pretty catchy. And then the final one, Void Art. I know a lot of people say it's one of the worst. I don't disagree completely. But I don't know if I want to put it in bad or average. Because the thing is that it's insanely easy. I remember the first time I did it was during Shadowbringers. Like I said, I didn't do anything Alliance Raid Heaven's Word forward. And I remember thinking we most likely have outscaled it so much, just like A Realm Reborn. And I remember one day, I think it was during Endwalker, I remember one day I see this PF for a minimum eye level no echo of Void Art. I was like, let's go. Let's see what I missed. Turns out I didn't miss anything, it was even more boring than usual. So I'm like, damn, they just didn't do a great job with this raid, huh? They definitely didn't. Having said that though, what are the boss fights again in this? I played this recently, I don't remember. I remember the last one, which I think is fine. The last boss is fine. It's actually a fine boss. Oh, you have this big thingy that vomits everywhere, that's whatever. I can't remember the other two bosses. That just goes... Oh yeah, the first one is a fish thingy that floats around. Just almost nothing happens in that fight, like it's really underwhelming. And the second fight, I can't remember. I legit can't remember. It's probably not unmemorable. Like, oh yeah, it's the dog with the pillar in the middle. Not a lot of things happen there as well. Huh. You have more stuff happening overall, I think, in Labyrinth of the Ancient and Circus Tower than in Void Ark. Yeah, my mind is made on this. It's going here. It's still outscale. Maybe not, because the last boss of Void Ark, I think, is good. It's not amazing, but it's still fun. But does it outscale the bad enough to go above these? Nah. When I get into Void Ark, I always go, I don't want to do it, so no. It's not particularly long. That's the one thing it has going for it. Also, the environment is not really interesting to me. So let's see, is there anything I'm waiting to move around now that all is said and done? I'm keeping Labyrinth above Circus simply because it has more disaster material potential than Circus Tower. Circus Tower has nothing going wrong, almost, aside from Amon. This has a lot more chaos potential, so it's more fun. Here, yeah, I think that's fair. For Frostney, I really can't see it higher or lower. For this, I'm hesitating between these two, between Copied Factory and Dunscape. I think I prefer Copied Factory. Okay, I think that's solid right now. Yeah, that will be my final order of Alliance raids. That's a day from Endwalker, at the end of Endwalker. In 2 years, 2 years and a half, when Dawn Trail is almost at the end, and I'm still playing. I don't think I'll quit, but you never know. I'll make another one, see how all of that holds up, if my opinion changed and all that, and also we'll have to include the newer raids in it, which will be themed on Final Fantasy XI, which I can't wait to see because I've never played Final Fantasy XI. And you know, I like Alliance raids, even though the list is like all over the place in some way. Like it's either awesome or pretty bad. Looking at it, it's always overall it's still a fun time to some extent. Soon I'll try to make an extreme tier list as well, only for Endwalker, because I haven't done the previous ones synced, and I don't want to rank them with unsync in mind. Like it's not fair. And I haven't done the older ones, so I want to do a tier list for the Endwalker Extremes. I'm only waiting for the next trial to come out. I don't think it will have an extreme version of it, but just in case, I've been waiting for that. So we've been more. Also, I need to gather footage of Extremes because I only have 2 bosses, so I need to go do a bit of the other ones. But yeah, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!